Hi, this is Randy, and tonight I'm going to work on the heated bed. I've already soldered a couple of wires onto it. This is going to be for the heater, and I'm choosing the 24 volt option, so I want to connect my terminals to 2 and 3, and the polarity really doesn't matter. This is just resistor. I measured it's 3.5 ohms between pins 2 and 3. Again, 24 volts, so I'm going to pins 2 and 3. Pin 1 stays unconnected. And if you look very carefully at the circuit board, this is an MK2B, I believe. Yeah, MK2B. One of the sides you can see the traces, and I'm going to mount that side closest to my glass. I decided to solder my wires on the opposite side, so the side where you cannot see the traces. And I think the side where the traces is going to get hot faster. I've also put standoffs, and I put 3 of them. I used a 3-hole mounting technique, and I've put standoffs instead of springs. I'm going to try those at first, and we'll see how well it does. And I'm just about to mount the thermistor. So there's a little hole in the center of the board, and the thermistor just about perfectly fits in that hole. I'm going to lay it down, and I have extra Cap-10 tape left over from the extruder build. Use the Cap-10 tape to just want to keep the 2 thermistor wires from stringing together. I try to bring them out the same side. I just want to keep, like I said, those 2 exposed wires from shorting. Okay, now the wiring kit from RepRap Discount I've soldered to the end of the thermistor, and I don't think this insulation is real high temperature, so I want to keep an air gap between the wire insulation. Again, so the LEDs are on the downside, the thermistor is mounted from the downside. I soldered to wires 2 and 3 on the downside. I'm going to flip it over, and I intend to mount it, I guess, sort of backwards, so you can't really read the words forwards, but I think as it plays back and forth and the wires go in, it'll work out better. Okay, this is how I'm going to mount the heated bed to the plate. I have gotten screws, and these are about a 1/2 inch screws. These are English screws, they're not metric like everything else in the machine. But I've put a nut on the screw, and I'm going to bring the screw through the 3 points on the board. There's 2 in the front and 1 in the back that I want to use, and I'm going to put the second nut on the top, and I'm going to leave about 3 turns of threads above the second nut, and that's going to allow me to raise and lower the heated bed as needed to square everything up. So some wires out of the way. The heated bed in. Now I have standoffs with screws, and they're still loose on the heated bed, so I'm not going to tighten the screw until everything is squared up. I'm just going to turn the 3 standoffs. Like I said, it should make probably 3 full revolutions, and these standoffs are 1/4 inch standoffs. So you've got 3 points for leveling it, and it's these 3 standoffs. And then once you get the standoffs leveled, you'll tighten the screw on the top in each standoff. At least that's the theory. We'll see how it works. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to wire the 2 wires from my heated bed up to the ramps board. The wires are probably still a little bit too long, and I'll trim all the wires later. I just want to get everything working into. Okay, actually I should have done this in one of the earlier videos when I attached the the Z-axis to the Y-axis. You want to make sure that these 2 pieces of maker slide are flush together, that there's no angle between them. And with those bolts, there can be some play. So what I'm going to do is I've rested the 2 stepper motors on 2x4s. I have loosened the belt for the Y gantry, so I can push the belt away. I'm going to take this clamp, and I'm going to clamp the 2 together as tight as I can. I come to the bottom, and I'm going to loosen the screws that hold the maker slide together. Now I'm loosening the screws that are on the bar that runs this way, because that's the one that will play up and down. So I'm going to loosen that screw. I'm going to really tighten down this clamp to get them flush. Okay, and I'm going to tighten the back screws back because I don't want to lose the square that I did. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to level your bed if you've got a tilt on your bed because the two maker slides weren't flat together. Okay, for the next squaring operation, I've powered up the machine. I want to pull my Z-axis as far up as I can. Okay, that's out of the way. Okay, now, to level the bed, first thing is I want to see if I need to tilt the bed left and right. So I've raised my Z-axis and I've got a square on here and I'm putting it right on the glass plate. I'm running it right up against the maker slide. And it looks real close to square, so I don't think I need to level it left to right. If the extruder is touching down on one side but not the other, then I will turn one shaft or the other to try to correct that. Like I said, I want to get the... Alright, I'm going to check one last thing for squareness while I'm here. And I've set the square on the glass plate, and I'm looking, and it looks like the whole frame is leaning forward. Now I could try to raise the bed to make the bed square to the frame, but it's going to be more important that when the extruder's down, as the bed moves beneath it, it stays a constant distance from the extruder. So once I get that set, I'll come back and check this again, and I will probably end up loosening these bolts and trying to tilt the frame forwards or backwards to make it square. It's off by, it looks like on the height of the square, about 2 millimeters at the bottom if it's flat at the top. So that's just kind of eyeballing it. Alright, now I need to adjust all the end stops to make sure that I'm at 0, 0 on my glass plate. So I did an auto home and I made sure that I wasn't going to crash the head into the bed. And it looks like I'm about a centimeter above the bed and I'm about a centimeter too far this way. So I need to, I'm going to power it down, I'm going to adjust all the end stops just by eyeballing them again, trying to get it very close to 0, 0. And I want 0, 0 to be kind of close to the corner edge of my glass plate. Okay, I've decided the first thing I need to print is a little veneer knob so I can adjust the end stop for the Y-axis. I've played with it 3 or 4 times, I have an auto home, and I'm doing it over on the side so that the plate can tilt if it needs to, because I don't have springs. And I'm really, really close. I've got about the thickness of a piece of paper. I've moved my X-axis across, and I've got about a thickness of a piece of paper. And if you wait for about a minute, you'll hear the separers power down. At that point, you can grab the separator and easily turn it. And so the paper just fits between the print head and a piece of glass. Now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to move the Y-axis forward. I'm going to check again. And I'll adjust the one screw in the back to raise or lower the glass plate. So the Y-axis is just the right height. Alright, I'm doing my first real heater test. I've leveled the bed so that the extruder is about a thickness piece of paper all the way around it when it homes. I moved X and then I moved Y, keeping these axes confused. I did a preheat PLA. I've got a piece of just regular glass I got from the glass shop down the street. They cut a piece of plate glass for me, 7 7/8 inches by 7 7/8 inches. Got it clamped on, and I'm hoping that if I don't get a big thermal gradient across it that I won't crack the glass. It's only going up to 70 degrees, so I did a preheat PLA. The extruder is 163 and rising, it's going to 180, and the bed is at 47 and rising, it's going to 70. We had an old overshoot on the extruder, we went to 183 and we're backing back down now, 181. 55 on the bed and still rising. Okay, the bed heated up to 78 and kept going up, so I realized I've made a mistake. I connected the heater for the bed into D9 and I have my cooling fan for my extruder on D8. I believe the two were swapped because as soon as I got the temperature, the cooling fan for the extruder turned off. So my guess is I got those swapped, and I will look that up in the documentation, but I'm just going to go ahead and reverse the wires now. And that is a good example of why we test. So now it is stabilized at 70 degrees on the bed, and it's at 189 on the extruder, 180 it's coming back down. But as soon as it hit 70 on the bed, the little green LED that's on the bottom turned off, and it'll be cycling on and off. Extruders drop back to 175, the bed is sitting at 170, and you can see the LED cycling on and off. And by the way, there's 2 LEDs on the bed, so that's why the polarity doesn't matter. because it's just a resistor. The two LEDs allow it to be connected either way. One of the two will light up. You can feel the heat coming off the bed. Not going to touch it now. Alright, well, so that's why we test, and we caught the mistake. I should have been more careful about how I was wiring it up. I got a little overconfident.